Do you ever struggle to pay for big expenses like school fees, maybe insurance, or even vacations? A sinking fund is a financial strategy that helps you to set aside money in small amounts for future expenses, preventing financial strain when the time comes. So basically, a sinking fund is a separate pool of money you set aside on a regular basis to cater for a future expense, a planned future expense. So that is what we refer to as a sinking fund. Unlike an emergency fund we set aside for an unexpected expense that may come up, or an unexpected emergency that may pop up. But sinking fund is a pool of an amount of money that we set aside to help us in catering for an expense that we have already we know that is going to happen, or an expense that will definitely occur. Why are sinking funds important? One, it avoids last minute borrowing. You see, like, you have already planned for that expense, so it reduces the reliance on loans or credit. You know this expense is coming up, so instead of like you rushing to get credit or loans, you at least you will get money from your sinking fund. The second importance is it prevents financial strain. This makes large expenses feel manageable. Like, even if you are paying your school fees, or you had a large upcoming expense, you will not feel financial strain because you have already set aside your sinking fund to cater for that expense. The other importance is it improves financial discipline, encourages planned spending. Basically, you've put aside this sinking fund, and so with that you're able to have a planned spending, unlike just you've gone to the market, you've seen a shoe and you just want to buy that shoe or that watch. Instead of you just buying it, at least now you would have gotten the money from your sinking fund, and you're able to buy that shoe or that watch, that for that matter. So it encourages very good planned spending. Let's delve in and look at a few examples of sinking fund. The first one is school fees. Every 3 months, if you have a kid or yourself, you're going to school, you have to pay school fees. So basically that's a known expense, so that's an example of a sinking fund. So for example, if you know your annual school fees is maybe for your kid or yourself is maybe 100,000 or 120,000, so we'll divide that by 12. We know that every month you need to put aside 10,000 to cater for the 120 annual expense. So now in your sinking fund, every month you make sure there is at least 10,000 to cater for your annual school fees expense. The other example is maybe car maintenance. Like, you can set aside on a monthly basis like 3,000 to cater for your car maintenance. At the end of the year, maybe you can have that sinking fund to have maybe at least 36,000 on an yearly basis just for your car maintenance. The other example is holiday or vacation. Dubai trips, here we come. But instead of that month that you have planned with your girls, you've planned with your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your spouse to go for Dubai, or to take your family for a vacation, instead of just taking your salary and paying for that vacation, what you can do, you can start planning it from the beginning of the month. This year I'm planning to go to South Africa. You get the budget for it, and you see how much it will cost. You start putting aside on a monthly basis that amount. Even a simple example like insurance premiums. Every year you have to renew your car insurance, your house insurance. You can start putting aside that amount. Maybe your car insurance maybe cost 50,000 or 60,000. If it's 60,000 on a per year, you can start putting aside every month 5,000 to cater for your premiums. So basically, those are some of the examples of sinking funds. If you're in business, some of the examples that you can look at are maybe equipment replacement. You're maybe running a salon, you need all your blow dryers to be replaced, so you can do that. Instead of maybe just getting that profit for the month and replacing all your blow dryers once, you can start setting aside on a monthly basis. The profit that you get, take a portion of it, and that one will cater for equipment replacement, or maybe upgrading your machineries, or all these type of equipment and machinery upgrades. So instead of just doing it on just once, you can set aside a sinking fund to cater for that. The other thing that you can think of when it comes to business is maybe your annual tax payment is upcoming. So instead of you struggling when the tax time comes, you can now put aside on a monthly basis an amount that will help you cater for your annual tax payments. And you can even like put aside your sinking fund to pay your staff bonuses. Maybe allocating a portion of your revenue on a monthly basis at the end of the year, like you're going to pay bonuses. So when you put aside that amount of money, at least you're able to sort your staff, and you'll be able to pay them the bonuses, and everyone will go home happy. So, but at least you didn't get all the profit for maybe December for you to cater for the bonuses. At least you're able to put aside on a monthly basis to cater for their bonuses. How do you set up a sinking fund? The first thing that you need to know is to identify the expense. What are you saving for? The second thing that you need to do is determine the cost. How much do I need? Like for my expense, how much do I need to sort out that expense? Then the other thing that you need to understand is set a deadline. When do I need this money? You know that sinking fund is caters for an expense that we already know that will happen. So what is the deadline? Do I have 3 months? Do I have 6 months? Do I have 1 year? Then the other thing that you need to do is calculate your monthly savings. Divide the total cost by the number of the months left. For example, if you have 6 months to cater for that expense, take your savings, you divide by the number take the calculations, you divide by the number. This expense is costing 100,000. I need 5 months to have saved that 100,000. How much do I need to put aside? So basically you need to put aside 20,000 every month. And finally, choose where to save. I get this question, Jane, where do I save my sinking fund? And my answer will always be use a separate account from your usual account. You get a separate account from your emergency fund account. Get a separate account for your budgeted daily expense or your monthly expense. Put that sinking fund in a separate account, and not just leaving it in a bank. Even if the expense is being catered after 3 months, get maybe an MMF account separate from what you've been using. So when you get that, you will know this is for my sinking fund. And at the end of it all, even if you're withdrawing after 3 months, at least it will have gained interest for the 3 months. So you will gain some interest. At the same time, you will manage without straining to cater for your expense. So basically, those are the steps that you need to consider when you're setting up a sinking funds. Here are a few tips on how to have an effective sinking fund. The first tip is automate your savings as much as you can. Set that direct debit, set your standing order to at least have an automation when it comes to like money being withdrawn or money being deposited to your sinking fund. The other tip is keep sinking funds separate from your emergency fund. I've already mentioned that. Keep the two aside, because with this you can be able to understand, this is my emergency fund, I need my emergency fund to be up to this limit, and this is my sinking fund, I need my sinking fund to be to grow up to this limit. So at least separate the two. And mark you can have as many MMFs as possible. Just come to Japesh Financial Solutions, we will give you guidance on that. The final tip is be consistent. Avoid using money for other purposes. If like for example, you had planned to get a fridge, or to upgrade your cooker, and you go to maybe these appliances and you see, I've always wanted that blender. Instead of you now getting the two items, plan for that blender. Go buy what you had planned, and then budget again through putting your money in a sinking fund for for the other blend. Start today, pick one upcoming expense and create a sinking fund for it.